Houston Real Estate Radio starts right now.
Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm Shannon Register, and we are coming back from a break and want to start a new segment here with Jim Klauck. He is with CheckAPro, and CheckAPro is a company that's been around for quite some time. Tell us about what CheckAPro is, just in case somebody hasn't heard of it, which most people have.
Shannon, thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate it as usual. We started the company back in 2005 in Katy, Texas. Some of your listeners may know us as KatyPros.com. That was the original name back when we started August 1st, 05. So we're into it now 8 years. Since then, we've expanded to 12 local markets. As a matter of fact, we just opened up the Tomball market on April 1st.
So really, all of our listeners can benefit from your service.
Absolutely. If they live in the Bay Area, Richmond, Spring, Conroe, wherever, Magnolia, you name it, we can service them. So what we do is we pre-qualify home service providers, what some people might call contractors, and we have over 200 listings, from plumbers to electricians to air conditioning companies, roofers, pool cleaners, pool builders, you name it. If they come to your house in a service truck with a hard hat and tool belt, that's the kind of contractor that we have on board. My job is to make sure they're good enough to be in your home. So I check their references, and we also check their licenses. We check their certificate of insurance, and each one is interviewed by me for at least 45 minutes to an hour.
All right. Well, you know, all of our sellers out there, everybody looking to put their house on the market this seller season, need contractors. I mean, even if you just want to freshen up the landscape, you know, there are people that you're going to need to call. We've talked about before, you know, refinish that front door. The thing about the front door is funny. I mean, curb appeal is important. Front door is important. But here's the thing. When the realtor is there trying to get in the front door, what are the buyers doing?
They're standing there, and they're
That's
looking
right.
at everything. They're looking in the front window. They're looking at the front door.
That's right.
They're looking down to see if it's a dirty mat. I mean,
Yeah,
seriously.
it's important. Clean your front porch. Make sure it looks good.
Because you know how long it takes to get in the house sometimes, Shannon. It could take a couple of minutes before you get the lockbox open. And now there's different choices now. And sometimes they have two different boxes on the door. So you've got to make sure that you understand that the realtor doesn't tell their clients, just wait in my car and I'll wave you in. Everyone walks to the front door, and generally you have to get that lockbox open and put the key in the front door, and it could take a couple minutes.
Absolutely. You know, it's an interesting market. It's just been wild these last couple of months, and it's exciting because, you know, we came off of such a dead market been dead for so long. I mean, really. And it's just, houses are just flying off the market. So the thing that I've been telling sellers is, you know, prices are actually going up about 3% over last year. So they are going up. It's going to be a gradual process. But if you're wanting to sell, it's a great time to put it on the market and be ready to move because they're going so fast.
They're moving like crazy. There's an old saying, they're moving like hotcakes. They are. I mean, they are. It's all of a sudden people have woken up from their long winter sleep, and it's been very busy in February and March in your industry. And we've seen it too, because our remodelers and all of our service provider contractors actually are part of it, because you know what happens when someone puts their house on the market. The realtor will tell the homeowner, you should really do this, get your carpets clean and, you know, get your house painted. So of course the homeowner asks the realtor, where do I go? And so
they go to CheckAPro and they can get it all.
Yeah, so they go to CheckAPro. So our guys are really busy. And then when the inspector comes through the house, the inspector always likes to earn his keep. So there's always something the inspector finds. Even if it's a brand new house, the inspector finds something for the owner to do. And so the owner has to hire a contractor to get something tweaked, and they get that done. And then when the new homeowner finally moves in, they say, okay, we're in this house. Now I want new countertops. And so it's busy.
So your guys are really, really busy over there at CheckAPro.
Yes. And I caution everyone who's listening to us right now that if you want something done, it's not like it was a year ago or even 6 months ago, where you could take your time and where you could really negotiate with the remodelers and with the pool builders and with the roofers and everyone else. They are so darn busy. If you want something, you may have to get in line, and I recommend that you get in line right now, because understand, a lot of companies, Shannon, went out of business during the recession. Hurricane Ike hit. 2008 was, you know, the beginning of the bank mess. People weren't doing a lot of transactions. They weren't moving. They couldn't. some people just couldn't move because they couldn't get new loans.
Well, consumer confidence went down too. I mean, there were so many people who were concerned about job loss, concerned about, especially a lot of people on commission, concerned. So people just weren't moving.
And they weren't spending money, and some of the contractors out there, and actually many other small businesses, including restaurants, went out of business. So what's happened is the contractors that are left are all strong, but there's not as many of them. Mm-hmm. Well, now all of a sudden, and you know what I'm talking about, Shannon, all of a sudden people have come out of their cocoon saying, we're ready to go buy a house and sell a house. Well, the contractors won't be able to keep up with it.
Yeah.
They won't.
It's, and it's great that your contractors are people who are, they are established companies, and when the homeowner calls the company, they know they've been thoroughly checked out. So I think it's a great thing that you've got going, and sellers can really rely on you. Just go to that checkapro.com website and check out Jim Klauck, all of the contractors available to you, because you have cleaning services and pool services, lawn services, anything that you're going to need. One of the services that you offer is you have a foundation repair company.
Yes, we do. High-tech foundation repair.
There are a lot of homes in the Houston market, just because of the type of soil that we have. You have a lot of homes with foundation issues. And I've seen in the past a lot of buyers, if it's got a foundation issue, they don't want anything to do with it.
I would agree. If there's a choice, I'd go buy a house that didn't have a foundation problem.
But now that we're getting into a seller's market, there's...
I know. You might love the house and may have some cracks, so now you have to figure out, okay, how are we going to get this fixed? Because there's not a lot of choices out there. I need to buy this house today.
Right.
And so we need to get that foundation fixed. And, foundation problems occurred a lot over the past couple of years because of the drought. I mean, if it's not one thing, it's another thing. We had a financial drought, and then we had a drought from rain. And so what happens when your foundation is not properly watered is that it can shift and crack. And so too much water is bad. It can begin to float, and not enough is bad because it can crack and move. So you need to keep it wet enough, and we really rely on Mother Nature to help out with that. Unfortunately, a couple of years ago, it was brutal, and some people didn't keep up with it around their foundation, and they had a crack.
Well, and there are some people who have large trees in their yard, and the trees died because of the drought. And now, as those tree roots are rotting, the house begins to tilt.
Sure.
So there are a lot of different types of foundation issues out there. So whenever I have buyers that are looking, you're going to have it inspected. You're going to know if there's a foundation issue, and you can choose to address it or go on to another house. But the great thing about foundation repair companies, they usually offer a lifetime warranty. I mean, they insure their work, and it's transferable. So, it's the life of the property, not the owner.
Exactly.
So, once it's repaired, you're probably not going to have any more problems.
And you're probably not. And I caution people, be careful who you hire for anything around your home, especially foundation work. Foundation work is expensive, and this is the foundation of your home. Everything is sitting on it, from the roof all the way down. So we're not talking about just one window here. This is the entire house that's sitting on this foundation. We only have one company on board with us now, and the reason is because we don't allow big foundation companies on board. High-Tech is a smaller company. I know the owner, and he's on every job site. He's the kind of guy I'd want to have come out to my home for that, because you really don't want to have a big company come out and bid and then not work with an owner.
Right.
And that's really what Checker Pro is all about, by the way. It's a lot of mom-and-pop organizations that are very good at what they do, Shannon, and they're very committed. And let me ask you this question. Who would you rather have come to your home to fix your foundation or replace your water heater? A technician from a large company or the owner who's been doing it for 30 years?
I'd say the owner that's been doing it for 30 years.
Yeah, because the buck stops there.
That's right.
If you have a problem, go to the owner, and the owner's going to make sure you're happy because it's his business.
And when it's an employee, you don't know how well trained they are.
Absolutely. I mean, they're just an employee. Who knows how long they've been there?
Right.
They don't have skin in the game necessarily. They probably don't own a piece of the company. And the owner's going to make sure, especially after 30 years, that he has satisfied customers. And when I talk to my contractors on a regular basis, most of them will tell me that every once in a while they'll have to take a hit and lose money on a job because they refuse to have a dissatisfied customer.
Well, one of the things that I like about your company is it's basically a referral service, and everybody knows the best way to find a good person to work on your home is by referral. You may not have a friend who's ever had foundation problems, so you don't have someone you can go to and say, hey, who did you use for this? Who did you use for that? You can go to Checker Pro, and you know that those are good companies to work with.
Shannon, I call myself Check-A-Pro Joe on the radio. And what Check-A-Pro Joe is, think about Check-A-Pro Joe as your neighbor, the guy who knows everyone in town who can get things fixed around your home. Now, I always recommend ask your neighbor, friend, or family member, do you know a plumber or a roofer, and so forth. That's always good because you feel good about asking someone close to you. That's just our nature.
Right.
But not everybody has a full list like we do. And also, nothing against your neighbor, but your neighbor doesn't know how to qualify a contractor. That's what I've been doing now for 8 years.
That's true.
So be careful. Just because your neighbor had a great experience with a contractor doesn't mean that contractor will give you a good experience. So that's what we do. That's all we do at Check-A-Pro is we check out the contractors and we list them on our website.
Fantastic. Well, we appreciate you being here at Houston Real Estate Radio. If you want to learn more about Jim Klauck and Check-A-Pro, you can go to checkapro.com. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate it.
Shannon, thank you.
We'll be right back here on Houston Real Estate Radio.